Today is Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 46, Week 5.
This episode is titled Tiki Man. It's spoken by Tim. He was having a moment with the Tiki Man, having a convo. Previously on Survivor, Tevin and Moriah have extra votes. Tiffany's got the hidden immunity idol. Jim has psyched her tribe out with an idol that they cannot find. Ben and Banu have lost their vote. Banu's gone, and 3 Yanu remain. Night 9 after Tribal Council. Poor Banu, somebody says.
Well, Kenzie was saying that he was a sweet guy, but that doesn't mean he can play Survivor.
Bless his heart.
You know, Tiffany's like, well, we don't have time to play Survivor and teach him how to.
That's right. As a unanimous vote, it's done. Moving on.
And Q said he was happy to hear his story, but then they start lamenting that they've gone 10 days without fire.
Well, it's cold. They're getting changed into all their extra clothes to try to stay warm.
Yeah, but Q says, as soon as we get some food, we'll be okay. We just need to make it to the next phase.
That just must be phenomenally difficult.
Oh, yeah.
You're ending your 10th day. You're getting a coconut a day. It's not no food, but it's almost no food. It's like a coconut that you're
might
sharing.
As well be, yeah.
Yeah. There's just not a lot coming in, and they need to be able to think, critical thinking.
And a lot going out.
Yes.
Challenges expend a tremendous amount of energy.
Yeah.
Even if you were eating food.
So yeah, that's quite the grind. And most people, at least most people in probably the U.S. and Canada, have never gone that long without eating a meal. So most of us just can't fathom what that must be like.
Okay, over to Siga, and Ben has major spins, he said.
Major spins?
Isn't that what he said? Major spins? Charlie went to get him some water? I thought he meant he was dizzy and,
Yeah, he was definitely having a hard time.
Yeah.
Now, was it him or Tim that said that my back is shot? If you don't get that bamboo, even when you have the bamboo set up well, it's not going to sleep super great.
Said nobody
But
likes
if you leave it as round, yeah, you're asking for being on the pain train.
Nobody seems to like the bamboo that much. But
And Ben is in the suffering.
And the girls are very observant, noticing that, Ben keeps making extra opportunities to be near Charlie. They're feeling a little bit possessive of Charlie.
Yeah.
He's their alliance member.
What's up with that? Moriah wants to know. She says Ben's charismatic, and that's a threat.
Yeah, and they're all, really worried about Charlie getting too close to Ben.
Yep, so the angels convene and make plans. Moriah, Jim, and Moriah are together, and we see them talking about how Tim or Ben have an idol.
And they at least got to the point where everybody now accepts that the idol's gone. They can quit digging. It's not there.
Yeah, Jim was pretty tickled with herself, sending them on the wild goose chase, she says. And she got the target put on Ben or Tim. It's looking pretty good for our girl right then. Strong Angels Alliance.
At least.
And she's deflected the target onto Ben or Tim.
Thought she had deflected.
Such a good time. Let's have a salsa lesson. So Maria's there to teach them how to dance a salsa.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It made me flash back to our tango lessons that we couldn't complete. That was immediately what I thought of.
We couldn't complete?
No, we bailed on that. We laughed so hard and so much that we couldn't actually get through the lesson.
We took a full series class.
No, we bailed on that tango.
I don't remember it that way.
Okay, well, I do. We did salsa.
We didn't intend
and
to
cha-cha,
do that.
but we we could not get through that tango.
Well, because we couldn't take it seriously.
Nope.
Every time she'd say, and turn your head,
Right.
and wrap your leg around, and we would just start giggling.
Yeah.
And we'd giggle through it all. So maybe she decided not to teach us
Yes.
tango anymore and
One way or
move on
another,
to something else.
we were responsible for us not getting through
Well,
that
we
one.
it was kind of fun, but
We laughed a lot, for sure.
we definitely did. But
But it wasn't for me.
geez, babe, that was more than 30 years ago. I can't remember details.
You
so.
just did.
Not all of them.
Yeah. So Charlie's hips don't lie. He was getting those hips working.
Yep. That's a good thing.
And Marie tells us that Charlie and Maria are still locked in the middle. They've got options. So they're probably sitting better than anyone in that tribe.
Yeah. And the salsa's a lot more fun to do than tango, for
Yeah.
sure. But
It's not as pretentious, at least, as the version we were learning.
that's kind of fun to put a rose in your mouth till you go. Okay, so Liz is not searching at all, we find out.
We should hunt, she says, without moving.
That's weird, though.
That was
She's
the
like,
lesson, right?
I can barely
for her.
find my shoes. I'm not going out there and search for an idol.
I can't imagine that. But she's different. She was cast for that very reason.
Yeah.
Hunter tells us that Soda and Tevin are out blatantly searching. Tevin's smart. He's got a little shovel that they got in the supplies that they won that he's using to search around with. And Hunter's been looking for the Beware Advantage high and low, and they even flash on it. You get to see it's in a tree again, about at eye level, maybe just a little below. But he's not seeing it yet.
So Venus is aware of what all is going on in the searching, and she's thinking that Hunter's going to be the one to find it. So she just sticks to him like glue.
Yeah, but she didn't have much stick, right? He hunkered down and stopped moving, stopped hunting. They chatted for a little bit. She got bored, lost her train of thought, and wished him happy hunting and moved on. At first I thought, that's tight. Stick with him. He knows what he's looking for. You don't. So, maybe just being in the general area with him is going to be enough so you can find it. And then she just lets go of it and moves on. She had a good idea, but couldn't stay with it.
Well, but if she moved on, she should stay close enough to kind of try to see what he was doing.
But she didn't. So it almost looked like she had something going, and then poof, it's gone.
Well, he at least was not willing to find it with her around. He doesn't want her to know, and so he's just not going to keep searching until she's gone.
To his credit, he picked up on it right away that she was
yeah.
acting cagey, and she was basically just trying to tag along. And well, as soon as she sashayed off, he was back to looking, and bingo.
Sashayed, huh? Okay.
I figured that was a
see.
proper verb for the princess.
Okay.
So Hunter ends up finding the replanted Beware Advantage at Nami Beach. How timely.
But now he has no vote.
No vote. He buried the box somewhere else, and I thought, ooh, what if Tevin digs it up with that shovel? If he just randomly digging around and finds it, wouldn't that be a twist?
It would. Wouldn't do him any good. He couldn't open it. And he wouldn't have any directions, so he wouldn't know anymore. But he'd have a box that Hunter would have to steal away from him. Of course, he'd just tell him, probably.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was found again. And then we're over at Yanu.
It's raining.
And the rain's coming through the tarp.
Yeah. So
What's up with that?
even when they do win a reward, trade the fish, the food they desperately needed for the supplies, since they had no way to cook the fish, they end up with a tarp that's leaking. Probably Banu poked a hole in it at some point.
Or either they did maybe putting it up. They poked a hole in it or something. Or somebody on the crew has a bad sense of humor.
Yeah.
These poor folks.
Hugh even wasn't with them. He wasn't with Kenzie and Tiffany under the shelter, under the tarp. He had gone to the outcropping again, where the rock will keep some of the rain off of you. He's telling us that even looking at the bamboo makes him nervous now. He has no desire to be on that.
He's hungry. He's wet.
Shelter.
He's hating the bamboo.
They got no tree mail. There's nothing to distract him.
Yep, nothing at all.
Kenzie picked up that he wasn't maybe wasn't doing okay. So
yeah,
she's got
and
some-
then they're over there laughing. Mm-hmm. They're like, making jokes, which is the best way. If you can be that way,
Yeah.
might as well make the best of it. But,
Right.
But
like you're talking
Q's
about,
not
like when
having any
Kenzie
of-
said what we saw on the next
what
time.
are we going to lose today?
Our
And-
minds. Yeah.
And Tiffany said our minds,
Yeah.
And that was so true that it was very funny.
Yes.
So then Q is talking to Kenzie and throws her curveball by saying, she's like, oh, nobody would never do that. Nobody would quit. He's like, I might.
I loved how he played all that too.
Yeah.
Because you thought he was
And-
being serious.
I was when
And
I
thought,
saw that.
He might be planning ahead.
Yeah. And it turns out he was.
He was. He was doing this to make sure that she didn't play her shot in the dark, that she would just be convinced he was ready to go.
That is smart.
Faking out Kenzie with the quitter talk.
Totally is smart. Now,
What'd you think about the montage there?
what montage did they show?
So Q and Tiffany are talking, and I think it was Tiffany that said the first thing that Kenzie says every morning when they wake up is, what y'all talking, or maybe it was Q, what are y'all talking about? What y'all talking about? And so it was a what y'all talking about montage. It showed her coming up and asking them that
okay.
over many different times.
Yeah, I kind of ignored that, but all right. Tiffany is upset because she's like, if we lose again, they're both going to expect me to vote the other one. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be in the middle of that. It's like, yeah, but at least they're
you're
not
in the best
pointing
possible
at you. Yeah.
position in your
Yes,
tribe.
it's hard for you, but at least you have an option.
It's uncomfortable, but nobody's talking about voting you out.
All right, back over to Signa. Not
Siga?
Signa. Siga.
Tim's talking to the Tiki Man, and he's asking him questions, too. When am I going to poop, Tiki Man?
Well,
No poop, Tim, he says. Drinking water, but nothing's moving.
You're making stuff up now.
No, he said that.
The Tiki Man didn't say it.
No, Tim did.
I know.
Okay.
The Tiki Man did.
Gotcha.
Okay. Tim thinks he knows who has the idol.
Detective Tim is on the case.
Detective Tim is on the gym. And she talks to him and, tell him she didn't feel close to him. She was not very convincing this episode.
You talking about right now, or you talking about later? Because later there's a problem.
Later. Now and later.
I thought she handled it okay.
She handled it okay.
This wasn't
But
a bad...
it wasn't great.
Right.
It just wasn't.
Well, according to her, she was doing fantastic. She's quite the liar, and she hasn't giggled once when she lied like she does at home. So she's pretty sure she's got the wool pulled over their eyes.
It doesn't seem to be. But she tells us that Tim and Ben think they're running the game, but I know the girls are.
Right. But she also felt
And
that there was...
I believed it at that time.
She also felt that there was a chance that she was in the running for a vote. She said it's me, Ben, or Tim
Yeah.
that they're going to come for more than likely.
So she's gotten some indication that they're not
Right.
as fond of her as some.
Well, at least that she's potentially catching some votes.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the reward immunity challenge.
Woohoo!
We've certainly seen this one many times before. The last time we saw the slingshot knock things down or hit a target, make the flag come up kind of thing was just a couple of seasons ago, back in season 44.
Why do you think Jeff commented on Moriah's reaction when they came in to the challenge?
She was reacting to how big the challenge was, I think, the scale of it.
Okay. Well, I didn't notice anything that was...
She was doing the
All
silent
that.
wows.
Oh,
The big eyes, expressive face. That's what he was
okay.
picking up on.
He doesn't usually comment on that.
But what was no one on Siga or Nami surprised about?
That Banu was gone. Yeah, they just kind of went, Banu's gone.
Quite the obstacle course. There's usually some big physical element before you get to shoot the slingshot. In this one, they've got a 3-stage, 3-level obstacle course. They got to go up and down and under and around and all kinds of stuff to collect.
Once Jeff uncovered the food, they couldn't even look at that course right away. That food looks so good with the pastry and the fresh fruits. Can you imagine what Yanu? I mean, I know the other people are hungry too, but Yanu, not having eaten anything but some coconut, even though it's other fruit, it's still other fruit.
Right? Yep. It's going to be tempting. It's a really bad tempting though. It's a hurt you reward actually, because you spike. It's sugar. Either way you go, the pastries or the fruit is just a sugar bomb essentially, especially the pastries.
Yeah, but
and then you're going to spike, and then you're going to crash. But it is something. So psychologically, it's sustenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just even the how much it will elevate their spirit just to have had something.
Yeah.
You know, they probably got very giddy.
Yep. So we've got the obstacle course. It's multiple levels. Each person's going to have to collect 3 keys and then or 3 bags. And inside of the bags, there are 3 keys. You need the keys to unlock a pole that's got a hook on it. Then you use that to unwrap a rope that's tied around multiple stanchions to
get your sandbags.
To drop the sandbags that you then have to collect and then put in a box. And then once you got all them in your box, then you can start shooting. And then each player has to hit a target. You can swap out and have different people try, but each one has to hit a target. And it's been that way before. Like in season 44, Carolyn had such a hard time. She wasted tons of time for her tribe, for the Tika tribe, and caused them to lose.
And you chose Nami to lose.
Yeah, and it was because each participant had to hit a target. In some cases, there would be more targets than players, and then someone could go back up and shoot again. But if everyone's got to get one, I was trying to think, well, how's this going to play? And then I was thinking Venus might be really bad at it. So there we go. I chose wrong. She hit hers on the first shot, was celebrated for doing so by Probst.
Well,
because she did so well.
I thought maybe Jim would throw it that kind of challenge. You know, we saw the pictures of they were going to use the slingshot. That would be an easy one to throw it in order to get the idol.
Mm-hmm. You even said something about Hunter possibly throwing it.
Well,
right?
But I didn't know Hunter was going to find the idol.
Well, before
I said
you made
that
your choice.
During the
when we were watching. Oh, maybe he's going to throw it. It's just so hard because he's been so.
I didn't say that before it started, babe. That was after
the challenge.
I said, before the challenge, but after he found the idol during the show, not before we made our picks.
He's done so well in the challenges. It's hard for him to throw something, I think.
No, I actually thought that. They'll probably win again because Hunter. So.
Did you like Sassy Jeff? He was on Yanu. Hey, you're breaking records. 11 days with no Flint. If you lose one more time, you'll break that record too.
That was
he brought an edge.
Rubbing it in.
Yeah, he brought an edge. Well, according to him, he was motivating. He's a motivational speaker.
Well, it did kind of motivate him. At least Q, but no, I think they were motivated.
Well, they came in with all the motivation they needed.
But had they lost that, they might have crashed and burned too, emotionally.
So Nami ends up sitting out Soda and Liz, and Siga sits out Moriah, Charlie, and Ben.
Okay, so those people have to play the next challenge that they go to.
So no surprise, Yanu is dragging. And they promptly fall behind.
Yeah, that was, and then Q got ahead. It was like, yes, Q, go. And then he fell behind again.
Yeah, he struggled getting the sandbags to drop. Yeah, getting that rope loose. So it was looking pretty gloomy for them.
It was, but then it got neck to neck, which was very exciting. Mm-hmm. Once, of course...
once Nami totally dominated. And
they won. So then it was it really came down to Tim versus Q.
Again, just like last time.
So it's like, wow, okay. And Q pulls it out.
Yeah.
Yay.
We get another slow-mo.
I was cheering for him.
They're big on using the slow-mo this season. They've done it for entries and
I was cheering very hard for Siga to lose, and not even considering
Yep.
the possibility of my USB leaving. So
Definitely. Okay.
okay, I liked the little bit of Q just taking a moment to enjoy the feeling of winning, and that this is what it feels like.
Classic Probst there. How does it feel? How does it feel? So he's asking Q and Kenzie. And, yep.
Well, Tiffany was just happy to get the flint so she won't wake up cold.
That was good. That was a great
Yes,
line to use because
yes.
you gotta kind of walk a line here. You don't want to celebrate too much, even though you're desperate to have won and celebrate. Because there's 6 people standing right beside you. Then one of them's going. So
Yeah, you can celebrate when you get back to camp.
Kenzie nailed it too. She said it's a new feeling.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff says there's a journey. Nami gets to choose because they won the challenge. Choose one person from each tribe. So Hunter, Tim, and Q.
And they let Siga choose who it would be. They didn't choose. They asked them. I guess they did the same thing with Yanu.
Okay.
So in a way, they didn't care.
I guess not, but you could tell Q had a plan once they got out there, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Charlie he said he was terrified and dreading it, their first trip to tribal council. He's
Now
already
it's real.
sweating.
Now they're playing.
Yep. Now they got to make some decisions. It is not all fun and dancing.
Yeah. Fun and what?
Dancing.
Oh, okay. Is that what he said?
No, it's not what he said. It's what I said.
Okay. Because
It's
of the
not
salsa.
all fun and dancing
Gotcha.
because they were...
Got it.
Okay. All right. Day 11. The journey. This
He was high on that win. He's looking
Well-
for a bro moment.
a bro moment. Yeah. He's had enough of just being in the female energy. He's ready for him some bro energy over there.
Yeah.
And he tells them, we've only had one coconut per day. So
Yeah, that was, even though Hunter left it up to them, it ends up playing into something that you could tell Q wanted. And preseason, we knew that both Q and Hunter were looking for opportunities to work with each other because they got that University of Mississippi tie. I think that's what it was.
yeah,
I can't remember if it was that or...
well, Q,
Anyway, they were aware of the same college in Mississippi had been there.
Q didn't seem to hesitate in talking about, the strong big guys.
Yeah,
Alliance
let's set up
after the
something
merge.
for
Yeah.
the physical threats, get some protection. We got the 3 of us. Are we cool? Okay, we're cool, which is the right answer when you're there. Absolutely. Now, and Q's got a plan. Can you each bring one more? And he says, I got Tiffany.
Yeah, I was surprised they shared all that. And Tim definitely thinks Moriah is with him.
Well, they've had that parents alliance from the beginning.
They have, but
and he's been touching base on it.
but
Like,
why would he tell them that she has an extra vote? Didn't he? He said that, right? She's got an extra vote. Bring Moriah with me. She's got an extra vote, or something
I
like
don't remember.
that.
I didn't
thought
make a
he
note
did.
of that. Yeah.
So anyway,
Well, I'm sure he was probably thinking that, Tevin had already shared that. So Tim says he's got Moriah, and Hunter says, yeah, I got Tevin. So there's 6. That's a pretty good plan.
yeah,
And
that's not bad at all.
Q called it a final 6. That could be powerful. Let's see where this
However,
goes.
It may not be enough. 6 may not be enough.
What did you think about the challenge?
I enjoyed it. How
Yeah,
about
the
you?
knowledge test?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
It's like, wow, cool.
Could I do that? I don't know if I could do that
I
with some of
couldn't do it,
especially some of the
no.
ones in the 20s.
No, definitely. I get lost. But it's like, no. I can remember. I'm like him. Yeah, I can remember that. But where did it fall in there? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be that confident.
I think I could do better than 8 out of 20.
I don't
Well,
know.
and he explained why, right? That he had become a fan because of his roommate, and his
Yeah.
roommate shared him in an
the
order
order
he liked.
He liked,
Yeah,
yes.
these are the seasons I like. Let's watch them. So he didn't have that, watch it growing up experience.
Yeah, because
or-
there is that. You remember because, and then we watched, and then we watched. But that's not the order in which.
And they had fun with it in the edit. They got to do flashbacks of all the castaways that Hunter was referencing. That was cool.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
But Hunter has now lost his vote. But his buddy Tevin's got an extra one, so maybe it still balances out.
Yeah, and, I don't blame Tim for not wanting to lose his.
Yeah, not at all. He's definitely needed to hold on to it. We've seen people make that mistake before.
And he said that he felt safe, that he didn't need it. He didn't need an advantage anyway, because he felt safe, which, I'm thinking, because I got you to go home.
Yeah, you did not want to hear that talk for sure. Yeah, I had him safe, so I was happy to hear that. I kind of had a feeling that they weren't featuring his alliance as much, but
okay. All right, back over to Yanu, and the girls are eating their fruit and muffins.
Enjoying it, and they saved a third, they say, for Q.
I kept thinking Q would shout that out before he left. Save me some food.
Right. Tiffany's ecstatic. There is no voting for them. Q gets back, and he doesn't say anything other than, I'm starving.
Where's the food?
Yes.
They're like, we saved you a third. We didn't need it all.
Kenzie tells us she's exploding with happiness, and she gets to work on that fire. They finally have fire.
Oh, that had to just raise their spirits. I mean, just being out there at night, not having a fire, can't see as good, all of those things.
Rain pouring down.
Cold,
it's
the
definitely
rain,
been raining on them.
But just the darkness and the dreary and when you're miserable and wet and uncomfortable from bamboo and
yeah.
Ugh. Okay, back over to Siga. Ben's glad that Yanu won something. I mean, he's glad for that they got to experience something new.
Yep.
But,
Moriah says they had a good run.
Yep.
And she's happy that Moriah has an extra vote. She's thinking Ben's got no vote. Not sure what's going on with Tim.
And how come nobody knows he's got no vote? He didn't even tell Tim, huh? He said he doesn't have a vote. He's concerned.
Well, the reason they know is what Ben told him was, I won't know until we go to vote.
Oh, okay.
So he told him there's a chance that he's lost his vote, or he might get an extra one. He doesn't know until he goes to vote how it played out.
So it's like, oh, wow, both Ben and Jim have no vote at that point. So, though
Jim's got a plan for that.
She does.
Jungle Jim says, hey, let's idle hunt, but let's go alone this time.
Well, they did show them next on with her running and looking behind her. And that's the main reason I chose them to lose.
Yeah.
And thought maybe she would throw it. I thought, oh, I bet she's running to get that clue. She wanted that clue so she'd have her vote back. Yeah. Anyway, it did happen, just
what do you
not the
think
way
about
I
how
thought
this
it.
played out compared to Tiffany's? So Jim's got to measure all these, the three
I liked
objects
it much better.
in machete lengths.
I don't know if I'd have ever gotten through Tiffany's, but this was doable.
Yes, it was much more pragmatic.
Yes, it was risky.
Yeah, depending on
and
where
you
people
gotta be
are.
a little more sneaky.
Yeah.
But
It's got to measure the perimeter of the boat in machete lengths. Got to measure the width of the flag in machete lengths. Multiply that times the perimeter of the boat, and then measure the perimeter of the tree mill stand in machetes and add that. So 12 times 2 plus 4 gives us 28 machete lengths that she's got to mark off. There's just so many times she could have got caught.
Yeah,
She must have been anxious
that's
the whole
why
time.
I say it was risky.
Measure off 28 machete lengths, dig, and bingo.
And that's one reason I think she was carrying the machete around a lot even after, was to make them
Cover?
less, cover about it.
Huh. Well,
Having done that, it's like, oh, I just carried it around in case I needed it.
maybe.
So they wouldn't
Maybe.
be as suspicious, maybe.
So she gets the key, she can open the box, and now she shows us she's got a hidden immunity idol. I was pretty happy.
And a vote.
Yeah, got her vote back, got a hidden immunity idol. Our girl, we had her picked to win the whole season. She was our USB in the fantasy league.
Yep.
And she's got the Women Alliance plus Charlie. So Charlie's Angels. It's time for Ben or Tim to go, she tells us.
Yep. And they want to put 3 on Ben, which I'm not liking because I had Tim to go. And
Which I'm liking because I had Tim safe.
I know. So, oh well, you're a point ahead of me. Okay. They really believe that Tim has the idol. Of course, Jim knows differently.
Jim knows better, but Maria tells us they've got a foolproof plan. Let's go. And then
they got to go tell Charlie.
We see Moriah and Jim talking to Charlie. What did you think about how they managed that? The interaction.
Moriah and
Jim? Mm-hmm. Jungle Jim.
I don't remember.
They came up and said, "Hey, it's Ben."
Yeah, I know they did, and he got sad and all of that, but he agreed.
Yeah, he said
what
he's a threat.
What I liked was that Moriah came back and said and tried to commiserate with him. That look, I know this
one's going to hurt
for you, and
because you guys got a connection.
I like how she handled it in that way.
Charlie managed it even better. He said, yes, he's a social threat. And then with us in the confessional, he said, Ben's an asset. I'm not really interested in letting Ben go.
He's a good cover, doesn't want to do it.
So,
which he tells to Marie.
I like these scenarios. So you get to see and you think about, well, what's the ideal way to play it? We saw Moriah and Jim telling Charlie it was Ben, and this is why it needed to be and how the votes were going to go. Ideally, I think what they should have said was, Charlie, who do you want? Because you can use every one of these interactions as a test of your alliance to see where you're standing, where people's heads are. But instead, they told him what the vote was. I think that was a mistake on their part tactically.
Okay. And the conversation with Ben and Maria? I thought it was good that Maria told him, I'm a little bit concerned after you saying how much you really like Ben.
Oh, you said Ben and Maria, but you meant Maria and Charlie. Okay.
Oh, yes, I did. It's been quite the week, so my brain, if you haven't noticed already, is a little depleted from all the many, many hours of doing taxes, et cetera. So forgive me. Yes.
Yeah, actually,
before
Maria and Charlie have that conversation, Tim returns and he shares with them the details of the journey, and he says, I got nothing. But Jim didn't believe him.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
So,
even though it was the truth. You have to kind of figure that when you're out there, is that it doesn't matter what I say. Most people aren't going to believe me.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have a doubt, if not everybody.
Right. This leads us into a real critical moment. We see Jim saying, hey, it's Ben and Tim. She's checking with Ben, and we see her go to talk with Ben, and Ben is so rattled that he picks up the hammer since she's running around still holding the machete.
Yeah, he did. It did seem to kind of unnerve him.
Well, to the point that he's sharing in the confessional that, and he's mentioning it to other people after they have their conversation. And she's pushing really hard. She
was coming across in a more aggressive way, and I didn't think she was handling it well at all.
No. This flashbacks to Matt and Amazon.
Whoa.
This is super wrong.
Well, I don't think it was that. He sat around and stared at him without saying anything. Yeah, no, that.
But you don't want to bring
like that.
You don't want to bring machete in weapon energy into a conversation about voting at all.
Well, I don't think
he gave her a chance to stop doing it.
Yeah, but she just kind of slept it off like, oh, don't be silly,
right,
kind of thing. But
because I have an agenda.
Well, I thought she handled it very poorly. I didn't care so much about the machete thing. It's just that she was being so very aggressive.
Let me know. I want to vote with you. Yes.
Yeah, I will. Trust me. Look in my eyes. Turn and look at me.
Oh, that's when she was talking to Tim.
To Tim, yeah.
Yeah.
And all of that was just over the top aggressive to me.
That was funny. She said
it seemed desperate
to Ben. She was asking him, who does your gut say in the confessional? He said, my gut says it's Jim.
So that's when I was like, oh, she's not going to get very far like that.
Right.
I had liked the things we'd seen of what she was doing, but it was like, whoa.
I didn't think it was necessarily a bad, that it was the end of her game or anything like that. But
I didn't really.
Up until now, I mean, she had tortured him a little bit with the whole dig for the idol. You'll never find.
With a lot of sense of humor.
Right.
But the thing is we hadn't seen her under pressure because they hadn't been to trouble.
So we see. What did you think about when Ben was talking to Charlie and he said, Jim's in chaos mode and she makes us on edge and she's thinking about the end game?
I thought she was in chaos mode too. Just being desperate and.
I remember you said something about Ben right then. You're like, wow, he's actually engaged. He's playing more than we've seen before, right?
Really, I had not given him credit for playing the game as well as I now think he is. Mm-hmm. I thought, he is playing the game. He's not just, he's observant and, no, he's got good reactions and gut instincts.
Got a good read, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought, I had kind of discounted him, I think, because but he's maybe just giving off that energy. It's not that I don't think it's part of who he is, I do. But there's this other side, and I thought, no, he's actually playing the game.
Well, the previous indications he was given that his game wasn't so good strategically was he had refused to discuss any voting possibilities. He just wouldn't engage with anyone, and sometimes that dooms your game when you won't do that.
Well,
so we see,
I guess that he showed him he will do it when it's time.
Which is what he had said.
Yep.
So now it is time. Yep. We see Ben talking to Charlie and Maria and telling them that he wants to target Jim, and that's when we see Charlie and Maria talking, where they have to choose, and where you were just mentioning earlier, we see Maria saying, hey, you've been getting really close to Ben. That was interesting. There was
and because he said that bothered her, and she let him know.
Yeah, there was an alliance test there.
But to his credit, he did he did talk to her about why. And yes, I like the guy and this and that, but, he's very charismatic and.
That has value for us.
We can use him.
He can be our charisma shield.
That settled her down a little bit. Mm. And I do, but.
So she tells us it's Jim or Ben. So now Maria's thinking about voting for Jim.
But she also tells us that she feels closer to the two girls, and she doesn't trust Ben or Tim.
Right.
So
they give Charlie the last word before they head to tribal council. He said, yesterday we were doing the salsa, and now we're going to tribal council.
Yep. Tribal council on night 11. Jeff tells them to dip their torches.
Yep. Ben Ever with the rock references hits us with Crazy Train. Yeah, he said that's what they're going off the rails. That's what it feels like. There's a reckoning.
And then he talked about how everyone has to suss out a vibe at camp. And I thought,
because they've been surviving, as Jim coined it, prior to this.
Yeah, but it makes him sound very different than when he's being serious and in a confessional. And, he's doing good at giving off that, hey, dude,
hey, we wake up together,
vibe.
And then we go and do our aqua dumps.
Everything together.
And then we vibe during the day, and we have dance lessons.
Mo's like, no, we do not do that together.
Not the aqua dump part. Yeah.
We do everything else.
Yes, all together.
Which is still weird, though I guess it would be one way to kind of know what everybody's doing if you do everything together.
Sure.
Cut down on some of the.
It's the stealth Boston Rob strategy. If you're always together with each other, that accomplishes the same objective.
But we know that's not 100% true because we've seen them off in smaller groups together. But
it's a good story to tell pros.
Yes, it is. And then Mo's talking about we don't know how many idols or extra votes or advantages and all, and we don't know how much of that's out there.
Hot mess.
Yep.
And then Charlie recounts Maria finding the Beware Advantage clue, and how all 6 of them had just dug a big hole searching for it.
Yep. And she said, well, it must have been found before me. Mm-hmm. And so, they figured it out.
I thought Jim did an awesome deflection when she caught a question right about this time, and she was talking about how hard it is to figure out who to vote for and debating about the vote, and then she asked if she could write Jeff's name down, so she got some humor injected, and that's a total deflection. Yeah, I don't want to write any of their names. How about yours?
Okay. And Tim talks about everybody must be playing a good game if nobody's
feels like they're a target.
Yeah. So Hey.
Moriah didn't let that slide, though. She said, well, somebody's lying.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we already know Jim was starting. It was starting to feel like she was getting totally paranoid with reason, but she just.
Well, I didn't pick up on that at all.
Seemed so not at tribal. I meant before. Before they went, and she was just seeming so desperate.
Well, she was hyper aggressive. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I mean. Okay, so Charlie says, but hey, we can vote someone off and still be a vibe tribe.
Or was the vibe just a mask, he asked.
Exactly.
That was good. Just before that, Ben was asked, is there possibility of irreparable damage to the tribe tonight? And he said, well, down the line, this might result in someone getting triggered, feeling like they're not an equal because they're not included in the vote, and someone was not included in the vote.
Yep.
And he said that could trigger a flipper.
Yep, he could.
Yep. So more perception. He is not oblivious to how the game is played and what ramifications can come.
And then Mama Moriah keep emotions out of the vote. And told Jeff, that's easy to do, Jeff. And I thought, okay, I think she's giving a directive.
Wasn't easy for Moriah. She was wowed by that tribal council set when she came in. She was given more of the big eyes, big O face, big wow face.
Because she's in the majority alliance and she wasn't nervous.
According to what she thought, even when she went to vote, she said she was nerding out.
Yep. And after the vote, Jeff is asking, does anyone want to play an idol? I was sure Jim was going to play hers.
I thought there was a good chance she would too.
And then
you just don't want to. You might as well break the ice with this big moment. But we've seen it time and time again. People are playing so far down the line. They're like, I want this for Final Five.
I think she should have. Of course, she might have been shot or something, or just, but I think it would have been almost fun at that point to pull it out, put it on, and get up to get your torch. And that way they would know she had it.
There's a trade-off, right? She could let everyone off the hook and let them know that it was her, and they chose well for getting rid of her because she yanked their chain so hard. Or she gets
make them suffer and keep looking, but
they're not continuing to look.
Or thinking somebody has.
But yeah, she doesn't let up on it, so it's still theirs. They're still going to think Tim's got something because of that.
Maybe.
So she didn't give him closure, and I like that. So we end up seeing.
So we were surprised, right?
Oh, very much so.
2 votes, 1 for Ben, 1 for Jim, 2 for Ben, 2 for Jim. I was like, oh, 2 for Jim. And then it was like 3 for Jim.
Ruh-roh.
Yes. Like, uh-oh.
You just lost her USB.
Bye-bye USB.
Yeah. Okay, so she ends up catching 4.
No 24 points for us.
Nope, because Moriah did play an extra vote, but she played it for Jim. She wrote her name 2 different ways.
Yeah, because at first I said, she didn't play her extra vote. And then I remembered that Ben didn't have one. Oh, yeah, she did. Because Ben didn't have one. It wasn't him.
So Jim and Moriah, the person that Ben was essentially referring to, the one that was left out of what was going on, who's possibly triggered, could flip on them later.
Poor Mo.
Yeah, Mo did not know, and she voted for Ben, thinking the Women's Alliance was strong, but she has been betrayed by Moriah now.
Yep. And Maria's made her choice, even though she said she didn't trust Tim and Ben.
Jim leaves with a hidden immunity idol.
Yep.
Maria's extra vote has been played, and Ben gets his vote back.
Yep.
So we now have Nami at 5, Siga at 5, and Yanu at 3.
And drop your buffs. So they're going into the merge with 13.
Yep, just before we do that, what did you think of this episode overall? Maybe compare last one versus this one.
Well, certainly I enjoyed it considering we lost our USB 24, but I still enjoyed it, everything.
It was great to see Yanu win.
It was, finally.
Yeah.
And to get fire and a little bit of food.
Yes, and I was impressed with Q 2 times. One with the Kenzie fake out and one with the Brochachos alliance.
Because when I saw the little clip of him doing that in a commercial, saying, I might, I was like, whoa, he doesn't have the game I thought he had.
Right.
I really thought he would, I didn't think he'd quit, kind. And so I was kind of looking at him as a goner. And, but.
If they go, he's the easy one to let go of.
Yeah.
But no, he's.
It doesn't mean the two girls wouldn't have voted him out.
Possibly.
But that was some good gameplay on his part.
Yeah. Unfortunately, our girl Jim choked a little, it seemed. At least the edit is heavily selling that to
Either
us.
that or they just showed us the good parts early on, and then they showed us how aggressive she can be.
Right. So she overplayed her hand when she was trying to talk to Tim and Ben. And Detective Tim was on the case. He did not believe her. And Ben wasn't having any of that chaos vibe she was giving off. So,
well, and they showed us that they have a little more game than we had been shown before. Mm-hmm. So, I thought there were a lot of extra things we got to see about the different tribes.
Do you think the Siga 5 will hold going forward?
The Siga 5?
Yeah, how's Moriah going to react?
Why would Moriah stay with Siga 5?
Well, it's 5 kind of.
Yeah.
But you're on the bottom of that 5.
Do you really know them? Mm-hmm. They blindsided you as well as Jim.
Do you think she's got enough game to get in somewhere else and not be in the bottom there? I haven't seen that side of her myself. I
haven't seen it, but she hasn't needed it. So she does have an opportunity to get in over on the other two tribes. Sure. They need people. Yanu certainly needs. I don't know if she can. That's debatable, but it depends on, in part, if that tribe of 6 that was talked about with Q, Tim, and Hunter, and their ride or die.
Not a tribe, but that alliance of 6.
They need one more. If they're merging at 13,
yep.
They need one more. She's a one more. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you jump into the majority alliance if you could?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. It gives you time to work.
And they're like, whoa, as she starts lamenting about, they blindsided me, blah, blah, blah.
How would
up for grabs.
How would you describe the state of Nami going into a merge? Are they going to stay tight? They seem fractured to me.
They are fractured.
Like in a heavy way.
I'm not sure Soda has an understanding that she's not one of the top dogs.
She's been deceived, yeah.
Yes. And I don't think Venus thinks she's a free agent, I think.
Yes.
So, but I'm not sure Venus wouldn't wherever she was. So I just don't know. We haven't seen how much game she's got.
So you're gonna need 7. Do you think that Kenzie can find a place somewhere? Q's got him and Tiffany going with that alliance.
I think Q would be good to go. He doesn't care about Kenzie.
But she's that +1
she
too.
She could be the +1. Absolutely. But would the others want Q to have 2? No. So, but they may not. Would
somebody's gonna have 2.
Same thing with Mo though. That would be Tim and Maria.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's gonna have 2 at this point.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed this episode. It was such a wonderful contrast, and I'll tell you why. I didn't want Jim to go. I'm bummed that she didn't get to go further. Not just because she was my USB, but she's somebody I wanted to watch play. And when you contrast that with Banu, when you contrast it with Jess and Jelinski, that is not the case. So I like it. I think that's the way all the vote outs should be. You're like, no, not that one. I actually wanted to watch them play.
Well,
and we were invested in her because we thought she had a chance to win it all.
Yeah, but
so I like this episode from that perspective, and I like the challenge at the advantage, and I've always liked the slingshot challenge for some reason. Maybe it just appeals to the little boy in me, but getting to shoot a giant slingshot like that. That's cool.
Well, run out in the backyard and build you.
Build you one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. You ready to move along?
Sure.
Alrighty. We've got the Drop Your Buffs and Hunters reading Day 12, the game is about to change.
We see Siga and Yanu arrive in boats, so that means that they're going to merge at Nami Beach.
Yep. Well, they looked like they had some nice... Their tarp looked like it was set up very nicely.
I think Hunter has spent time on their shelter,
well,
for sure.
No, I think that one of the other tribes brought that over, and it's not just the shelter. It looked like they had something that came out where they could stand under if it was raining too.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have to lay on the bamboo.
Right.
So that's
I
probably
think
the
Hunter
two
built all
tarps.
that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he had some help.
Q tells us there's cracks all around this island. So, of course, those three are desperate. They're looking for opportunities.
Yep.
They need to get in a solid 7, so they can take control and continue to stay there. Otherwise, they get picked off.
And Mo still trying to work with Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
She said, today we see the divides.
And see Hunter talking to Q and saying Liz hates soda. It's a mess. So his alliance is a mess, just like we were thinking it was. There's a lot of fractures
that was
there.
Q talking to Hunter. Yeah. You said Hunter talking to Q.
Well, I think Hunter's the one who says it. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Q. All right.
And then you get Hunter in exasperation declaring, oh my goodness.
Yeah. I have no idea what that's about. We'll find out next week. And obviously, Venus is saying all kinds of crap about people. Yep. So I think that tells you something about what's going on within their old tribe. Yeah. So that's
they were never
explanatory.
They were never all together surviving the way the Siga tribe did.
I don't think they even pretended to, really, so.
And they give the last word to Tiffany. She said, baby, it's about to get messy.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. We're all in for that. Good stuff.
All righty.
How about a JSFL update?
All right. We have 56 people who lost their USB 24. So we're in good company, I guess. 3 people tied in first with 24 points in JSFL. 85 people lost a safe point. And 12 people earned a vote-off point. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats. Not many saw that coming.
Yeah.
Even considered the possibility.
Yeah, I didn't. So.
Yeah, these 12 did. Good job.
All right. For the side challengers, with 22 points tied for first, Robert and Stacy. With 21 points, Brandon, Lisa Ray, and Parker. With 20 points, we have Chris, Drew, Jeremiah, and Justin. And in the basement with 19 points, Rebecca's alone again.
Oh, wow.
Those boys just skedaddled back out of there.
Yeah, scrambled out of the basement, left her solo again.
And that is it for this week.
All right. Hey, if you want to join us in the next feedback show, we'd love for you to call the voicemail line 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio. That's usually the way to get the best quality and send it in an email, or you can write it up, and either Joanne or I will read it into the show for you. That email is joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you try to keep it all in the 3-minute range so we can put it together. People have been doing fantastic, getting it in early.
Oh, that's been very helpful.
Yeah, that's been great because we've had some big shows this season. Certainly sparked a lot of conversation. I'm looking forward to what people think now because we're headed into the serious part of the game. And, I want to know, are you sad Jim's out? Maybe you're like us, you've lost your USB. Who you're thinking about for a replacement? Because we're coming up to that time.
Well, what we said after it aired tonight was, hey, at least if your USB's going to go, it happened before the merge.
For us, just in time here.
So you can, you won't make as much, but hey, if it's got to happen, at least it didn't happen after the merge, and then you got nobody.
How did your assessment of the Castaways change after this week's game? Who impressed you the most? Who do you think's playing the best? And who's in jeopardy of being voted out next? Anything you want to add? Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Have a good one.